Hey everybody, David Lott here for something a little different, and we're going to get to that in a second. First is Bobby Jackson's also here. I'm not alone. How's it going, Bobby?
It's going good. It feels like I just saw you.
What? What are you talking about?
uh,
No. Yeah, we just
yeah.
did a trailer reaction video for the new Superman trailer. So if you haven't watched that yet, go check that out. But in this one, we're going to try something a little different. We are going to talk some movie news by reacting to some movie news on video from, in this case, kinocheck.com. They do, I don't know if they do them weekly or how often they do these KinoCheck news videos on their YouTube channel. But they've got some segments we wanted to talk about. So we're going to play parts of those segments and talk a little bit about some movie news. If I'm getting that right, Bobby, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, we just wanted to try a little something different for you guys. And honestly, it feels a little bit better than having me try to read a story in my dry voice and or just non excitement or something. So
Right.
get a little visuals with this new story, and then we'll talk about it right after we hear what the story is.
All right. You ready for the first one?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
HBO has officially announced the main cast of the upcoming Harry Potter series. It'll be a faithful adaptation of the 7 books by J.K. Rowling. The iconic roles will be played by 3 up-and-coming talents: Dominic McLaughlin as Harry Potter, Alastair Stout as Ron Weasley, and Arabella Stanton as Hermione Granger. The 3 were selected from over 32,000 applicants. Shooting of the Harry Potter series is scheduled to begin in summer 2025, with the show set to air on HBO in 2026. Each season will focus on one book in the series, providing more depth and detail than the previous films. Other key roles have also already been cast, including John Lithgow as Dumbledore, Nick Frost as Hagrid, Janet McTeer as McGonagall, and Papa Asiedu as Snape. The casting has already caused a great deal of debate in the comments, and there will certainly be a lot of heated discussion about the casting of the leading actors as well. After all, for many, the characters are forever linked to the actors in the movies.
All right.
Okay, so you know what is interesting within that news segment? Obviously, we know that we had just got this cast, and there had been some talk for sure about some of the casting.
Yeah.
But the thing that I didn't realize is that this is coming out next year.
I thought
I
the
don't know.
same thing.
You did? I was like, oh, what?
I was going to bring that
Next
up,
year?
and I'm like, did I know that? Like, is this
Yeah.
that soon? They're not shooting. I mean, like,
Not yet. And so I was surprised because
I'm gonna double check this
I was
as
thinking
we're chatting.
2027. So this would be and it makes a little bit of sense because initially they had gave us the cast of some of the teachers, the headmasters and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, they're laying those out. Now soon we got to get the actual main cast. And sure enough, within this new story, they lay out who are the 3 main leads. And I think it was earlier this week, maybe even Monday of this week or end of last week, they announced pretty much almost everyone else, like Malfoy and his father and some of the other people that were like teachers and stuff like that. So they pretty much have laid out everyone at this point. So it does make sense that maybe they are going to start filming soon just because of the fact that we now have everyone cast. But yeah, I guess I didn't realize it was going to be next year. So unless you've seen something different as you were looking up, I heard you typing. So is
Yeah,
that the case? Is that it is going to be out next year?
I'm unsure. Well, first, and I Google it, and of course Gemini is giving me its quick take, which it's actually saying expected to release in 2027. Apparently it was initially suggested to release in 2026, but there's been like hints that from HBO boss Casey Bloys have hinted at a slight delay. But then like I opened this Deadline article, which honestly reading this Deadline article, I think has only just been updated with castings. Because it, you look at the date on it and it's dated for like yesterday. But I think this is actually an older article that was just updated with
Okay.
casting news. But the article, I think, is giving the initial story, which is, it's coming in 2026. But I don't know that that's actually true. So I don't, and long story short, I don't think we actually know for sure.
Yeah. And I guess that's what they're expecting because, yeah, I'm looking at that as well. And even seeing that the Deadline article just says it's due to hit HBO in 2026. So
Yeah.
unless something else has happened, maybe that is the expected date for that. But the the cast that I saw, along with the extended cast that they had just released recently,
Mhm.
I'm liking what I see. I'm not familiar with a lot of these actors and actresses, and I don't
Right.
know if they've done stuff. And I should be more familiar with them, but for as what I can see, I'm like, okay, they kind of give me that visual look of some of the people that were in the movies, and maybe something a little bit more modernized, as I would think, like Ron's mom. I forget her name, but her name, the Weasley mom,
Yeah.
and she seems a little bit more photo friendly. I is not quite the word I want to say, but she doesn't look like a. She look in the movie. She looks like a mom. She looks like she could be someone's mom.
Right.
This one in the picture that I saw, the headshot of the lady, I'm like, she's someone's hot mom. She doesn't quite look like. She
This doesn't
doesn't
look
look
like a
like.
Weasley mom.
No, no, not at all. So, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh well, I could see how, like from that actress that they got, how I could see a young Jenny from her in that way,
Mm,
because she kind of looks like her
okay.
from the movies. So I'm like, okay, and of course the big one that was from, I think, the initial of the three that were cast was the Hermione, and she was getting a lot of flack just because of how she looks, and it's like, oh, is she white? Is she not? Is she mixed? Whatever. And from that aside, from what I hear, is that she has performed on West End, and that they showed some of her performance in terms of her auditioning, and that she nails it. So I have not
Mm,
seen that, but it is out there, and so I'm kind of curious to go and check out what I can see in terms of her performance wise that made them say yes, she's the one.
right. Yeah, no, I agree with all the casting. There hasn't been any casting that's I've bumped up against or had any like worries about. I think the kids look great. Obviously, I don't know these kids and don't know their acting ability at all, but at least going off the photo, I mean, I think they look like they should be a good fit. And I mean, you'd like to think when you're, as it said, dealing with like 32,000 applicants for these parts. Hopefully when they narrowed that down to these three, that there's a good reason, not just their looks, but it sounds like I would assume they were pretty good actors.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm still as a show very skeptical of this show. Like as a Harry Potter fan, and we're not even getting into J.K. Rowling drama territory. And I mean, I'll just say really
Yeah.
quick, no, I don't agree with much of what's, coming out of J.K. Rowling's mouth lately, but I'm still a fan of these books and a fan of the series, and I'm looking forward to the show, but I'm also very skeptical. So I guess we'll just have to see.
I guess I'm more skeptical of the show from a production standpoint
Mm-hmm.
because, as in the video it said, there's 7 books, so we're supposed to get one of these a season, a year,
Yeah.
and they kind of have to, because
Yeah. They got
if
to
they
keep
wait too
moving.
long, the kids will get older, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be like in trouble. So you don't want to turn this into a Stranger Things situation. So you kind of have to get moving on it and just be able to have faith in the fact that you're doing this right, and that it'll
Mm-hmm.
work.
You're absolutely right. We definitely live in a time now where the era of, at least with streaming series, like of getting a show every year, a season every year, just doesn't seem to be happening. Like a lot of the, I guess, prestige TV or whatever you want to call it is starting to turn into an every other year situation. And I mean, you have to imagine the kind of production that this is going to involve. Like, if it weren't for what the books they're trying to tell the stories from and having kids age, you probably would imagine that they would do this every other year. They'd have to, but you're right, they can't. Like,
Mm-mm.
I mean, at least I hope they don't. I hope they don't find themselves falling into that situation. But I guess we'll see.
I will say that the one thing they might have going in their favor is the one thing that I seem to think that a lot of streaming shows don't have in their favor, and that if you've noticed, a lot of shows that stream that are like drama series, not comedy, but drama series, they don't have a lot of set locations. They don't have a particular house that they're always going back to, and that they can, and like a normal TV show does. You
Right.
film inside of the house most of the time, or wherever the location is set. If
Right.
it's the office, it's inside the office. You don't see them outside of those places very often. And that's what seems to happen with a lot of streaming shows. They're in all these different exotic locations, and it
Right.
changes from season to season. So it adds to the time in which we get to see the next season. Whereas with something like this, I mean, you figure they're going to be in Hogwarts Castle most of the time, and they're
Mhm.
going to be in other places. So certain things and sets are probably going to be already there that they can just keep going back to without having to necessarily build from scratch or have to go and do a lot of site locations for things. Obviously, that will be there as well, but it probably won't be to the same degree as some of the other shows that we get. So I can see how they can kind of shortcut their way into being able to make this kind of fluid as long as things work and as long as they're able to continue with this show from a standpoint of, hey, people are watching this and they want more.
Right. Yeah. I don't disagree. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Cool.
Good news for all Marvel fans. As Nexus Point News exclusively reports, Mark Ruffalo will make an appearance as the Hulk in Spider-Man 4 Brand New Day. Ruffalo's role in the film is set to go far beyond a simple cameo appearance too. Whether it involves the Professor Hulk from Avengers Endgame or even the wilder, more original variant of the character has not yet been confirmed. But one plausible scenario would be Banner acting as Peter Parker's scientific mentor, similar to Tony Stark in the earlier MCU films. This role would fit in with Banner's development in recent Marvel projects, especially after his appearance in the series She-Hulk. Alongside Ruffalo, Tom Holland is also returning as Peter Parker, Zendaya as MJ, and Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds. However, Zendaya is expected to have a minor role only. Instead, Stranger Things star Sadie Sink has been cast, even if her role is still unknown. This time around, Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton will direct the movie, with Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers writing the screenplay as usual. Spider-Man 4 Brand New Day is currently scheduled for release before Avengers Doomsday on July 31st, 2026, and represents a central building block of Phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Filming will kick off in London in July 2025 and is expected to wrap in the fall.
Is this another I didn't know this was coming out next year situation? Because that's I don't think I knew that.
I did know that, and for me, it's been an issue in terms of timing because, at least as far as I know, they have not started shooting. I think it just said when they
Yeah,
in the
it said
video,
there's
and
start in July.
yeah. So for it to be already coming out next year was already, I thought, a tight schedule because it hadn't started filming from when I knew this news was a thing. So the part that I'm more dubious and curious about is that this was supposed to come in between Doomsday and Secret Wars. And now Doomsday has moved. And so this comes out first. This will be our next MCU film after we get Fantastic Four next month. So I am I am wondering how much of this actually ties into any of the stuff that's going on within Doomsday and Secret Wars, and how much of it is just its own story. Within the story itself, they mentioned that Bruce Banner is going to be a big character in this, much in the same way that Iron Man was, and probably much in the same way that Doctor Strange was in the previous film. And I think that maybe based on that, it's going to be an isolated story, almost in the same way I feel like Ant-Man 2 was in towards coming into
Mm.
what was it? Not Endgame. It was Infinity War. So I feel like, or no, maybe it was Endgame. It was before Endgame. So yeah, I feel like that it's kind of an interesting thing in that um, this is going to be a very highly anticipated movie, especially considering the last movie and how we had Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back for those. So a lot of people are going to want to see what Spider-Man's next adventure is. And so many people have been asking and calling for this next movie for Spider-Man to be more grounded, to be more of him just kind of being the friendly
Just
neighborhood
being
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
as opposed to a big kind of world ending kind of thing that he needs to be involved with. And we do know, or at least I think it's common knowledge, that when Sony got involved with Marvel and Disney to be able to have Spider-Man in this MCU universe, their deal was for that they need to be able to use some of these MCU characters for these Spider-Man movies. So it's not like we would ever just see Spider-Man by himself. Otherwise,
Mhm.
it would just be a Sony movie and he would be removed from the MCU because that's their whole thing. Hey, if we're going to play ball, we want to get to use some of this MCU goodness of these characters you have. So
Right.
we're going to probably see another MCU main star character in these movies with him. So it can only be so insular because insular would just be him, and there'd
Mhm.
be him fighting his rogues gallery or something like that without the help or the assistance of any of the other MCU characters. So for this one to have the Hulk, it's not something I would have thought to pair him with. I remember there was rumors of there being a Kingpin Daredevil kind of thing for this next Spider-Man movie, which would have been awesome to see. So I would have never guessed that there's a Hulk. I know that there are rumors out there, and I don't want to say here in case people don't want to be spoiled because it's not actually out there in the news yet, but um, there is news of another MCU character that would be in this as well, as along with the Hulk and Spider-Man. And that makes for an interesting trio in my mind. And I do not know where they're trying to go
Hmm.
with this movie. It's I've even heard the latest rumors is that Nicole Kidman is being eyed for a female villain part. So this movie seems like it will be once again a big movie. If you got the Hulk in it, you got this other MCU character in it, you've got the uh, Sadie Sink character in there as well, which
Mhm.
she's being rumored to be like the uh, the kid of the, I want to say it's the Toby Maguire and Kirsten Dunst's daughter. In the comics, she's known as Mayday,
Okay.
and she's got the red hair and everything. So they're saying maybe that could be a possibility. And of course, this is all just speculation and rumors because no one knows for sure just yet. But it definitely sounds like it'll still be a big movie. And while I would not have thought to put these particular characters together in a movie, it's Spider-Man and he is my favorite superhero. So I'm going to be there day one, no matter what. I just hope that whatever they do with this, they make Hulk a badass again because he has been nerfed quite a bit since he was first out in
Yeah.
his own movie, The Incredible
Yeah.
Hulk.
Don't disagree about the Hulk comments. I mean, and I'm not even saying that as like some huge Hulk fan. I like Hulk, but
Mhm.
I mean, you know what I mean. It's not like I
Yeah.
grew up like reading Hulk or anything, but
Right.
yeah, the Hulk we've been getting more recently. I'm like, okay, part of me kind of wants to go back to the, I don't know, I
The
guess I would
Raging
call it
Hulk.
real Raging Hulk kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But hey, I like the Tom Holland Spider-Man films, so I'm looking forward to this, and I guess we'll see if it actually comes out next year. But
Yeah.
I guess that's the plan right now. That's what it sounds like.
Yep.
All right, I think we got one more. Here we go.
A few weeks ago, there were already initial rumors, but now it's official. A central character has been cast for the upcoming Hunger Games prequel, Sunrise on the Reaping. Harry Potter star Ralph Fiennes will play the antagonist, President Snow. Coriolanus Snow is the main villain in the Hunger Games saga. As the authoritarian ruler of Panem, he uses cruel methods to ensure the power of the capital, one of these things being the annual Hunger Games. In the original 4 movies, he was played by the late Hollywood legend Donald Sutherland. Snow also played a central role in the prequel film The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. In it, Tom Blythe played the young Coriolanus, set around 60 years before the main storyline. Ralph Fiennes will now follow in Sutherland's footsteps. Fiennes has already played several iconic villain roles in his long film career, but most people probably know him best as Lord Voldemort from the Harry Potter movies. Alongside Fiennes, other actors have also been cast. These include, above all, Stranger Things star Maya Hawke. The actress has been a fixture on the hit Netflix series as Robin Buckley since season 3. In Sunrise on the Reaping, she'll be seen as Wiress, a mentor to the tributes from District 12. Elle Fanning has also officially been confirmed as Effie Trinket. In the prequel, the young Effie is already part of the team that prepares the tributes from District 12 for the Hunger Games. In the original movies, the close confidant of Katniss and Peeta was played by Elizabeth Banks. Moreover, Ben Wang will portray the character Wyatt Callow, a tribute from District 12. Wang will soon be seen in the lead role in Karate Kid Legends. Likewise, it's been known for some time that Breaking Bad star Jesse Plemons will take on the role of Plutarch Heavensbee. Heavensbee was played by Oscar winner Philip Seymour Hoffman in the previous Hunger Games movies. The role of host Cesar Flickerman will be played by Kieran Culkin this time. Sunrise on the Reaping will once again be based on a novel by the Hunger Games author Suzanne Collins. This time, the focus is on Katniss's later mentor Haymitch Abernathy. Haymitch takes part in the 50th Hunger Games, in which twice as many tributes must compete against each other. Filming of the prequel is expected to kick off in July 2025. The director is once again franchise legend Francis Lawrence, who has directed all movies in the series since The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, and the theatrical release is scheduled for November 20th, 2026.
Everything's coming in 2026.
There is a lot.
There's a lot.
So, what do you think of this casting for Ray Fiennes as Snow?
I mean, hey, Ray Fiennes is great. I mean, to be absolutely clear, I mean, there's a part of me that has a hard time kind of picturing Ray Fiennes and Donald Sutherland like as the same character.
Yep.
So with that said, there's a very good chance we'll see our first trailer and I'm like, nope, he nailed it. He's great. Like, but right now that's my first reaction is that like, hey, even though he's an amazing actor, if you're, you know, unless you're just going to kind of change up the way the character is, which is fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I guess, you know, maybe if this were Star Wars, I'd have a problem with that or something. And I'm just not as, you know, entrenched in the Hunger Games. But yeah, that's my thought. What's your thoughts?
Similar. Other than the fact that it's so weird that when I first heard this news of him being cast in this role, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's Ray Fiennes. He's a great actor. He doesn't have an Academy Award, but he should have one because he's that good at some point. And so I'm like, I had no issues with it. And then it was like, I don't know, a few days later, I saw someone say, why did Kiefer Sutherland not get that role? And I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a second,
That's right. I did not think of that. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but I was like, yeah, that's right. Why? I mean, it's for those who don't know, Donald Sutherland is the father of Kiefer Sutherland. Right. So it would make perfect sense for him to have been cast as a younger version of Snow. So I was like, I don't know why. Maybe he just, who knows? He could have been they reached out to him. He could have just said, no, I don't want to, you know, follow in my father's footsteps in that way. Or just busy or just no interest. Or maybe they didn't have an interest in, maybe they wanted someone with a bigger brand recognition, I guess, in this day and age. So, but either way, no, I mean, I'm cool with Ray Fiennes being in that role. But like you said, I will need to see at least that first trailer to see how he looks, just because I'm curious as to if he's trying to match mannerisms or anything, or maybe because it's so early, he doesn't still have all those same attributes that you can attribute to, or those things that you would attribute to Donald Sutherland in that role as a version at this age. So I could see how they can get away with it as well. So I guess that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. It's like, because there is a difference in the years, and it's not like, oh, it's 5 years before the Katniss Everdeen Hunger Games, that I can accept the difference in the look and everything, because it's a lot earlier than that. But yeah, I think I'm good with that casting, and I'm curious if within that news story, were you familiar with all those people that were mentioned as being cast already, or were any of those
Yeah.
names new to you that you hadn't known?
I don't think so. I think I've heard about Elle Fanning and Kieran
Yeah.
Culkin, and yeah. I think I was mostly aware, if not completely aware, about all the casting so far.
And I think even from that standpoint, I'm liking what I'm seeing and hearing in
Yeah,
terms of
I
the
would agree.
casting. I think they're doing a pretty good job with making these actors that are now known, or maybe even some up and coming, that
Hmm.
will be in these roles and be able to portray these characters. So um, I I do wonder that there, not that you had to have seen this last one, but did you have it? Did we talk about it? I don't know if you ever saw that last one,
Yeah,
The
the one
Ballad of
with
Songbird.
Rachel Zegler in it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, see, I liked it, and even
I did too.
it feels like it was quiet in a way.
Hmm.
Like I think it did well, but it did well quietly, if that makes any sense,
Hmm.
because it didn't seem like it was a big thing and that everybody's been talking about and
Right.
can't wait for the next one. But I do feel like it did well, and obviously I think it must have done well enough for them to still go back. And I like that we have the consistency of Francis Lawrence coming back to direct this, because he has been directing, as the video mentioned,
Right.
since what, the second one, I think,
I
maybe,
forget what
or
it
the
did. It
third
say.
one.
I don't know if it said in the video, but I can't remember.
I think it did, but I can't remember. I think it was the second
Yeah.
one he came back onto it from. But yeah, I like all that, and I have started listening to the audiobook for this one.
Oh, okay.
I'm maybe about 4 or 5 chapters in. So now it's kind of like even seeing this video and being able to put some of those characters' faces into the story that I'm listening to is kind of like, oh, okay. I can make that connection now, and it's kind of cool to be able to see it, because I think that's what I did with the first one, the original book. I heard of the casting, and then I went and listened to the audiobook, and so I had the people that were cast in my head as I'm listening to it,
Hmm.
and so I kind of got familiar with it in that way. So I think the similar kind of effect is happening with this one. I never read that last one, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, so this one is the one that I'm actually kind of interested in, just because it's a character that I'm familiar with in Haymitch. So I've always been curious about his Hunger Games story. So I like that I'm getting to be able to listen to this one and get into it right before it comes out within the next year.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't listened to or read any of the Hunger Games
Hmm.
books, but I think, yeah, I don't know. I have so many other books I need to like catch up on, so I don't think Hunger Games is really high on my list. Nothing against the series. I've, for the most part, enjoyed the films.
Hmm.
And yeah, I like the most recent one actually. I feel like more than, well, I don't know. I guess the general reaction was pretty good for that movie. I don't remember now,
Yeah, I
but
think it was solid.
yeah, I think it was solid. I liked it.
Hmm.
Well, I guess with that, unless you have anything else, I think that's going to do it for this new experimental video of ours, reacting to some news from KinoCheck. Again, if you want to watch that video, we'll have a link to it down in the show notes down below here on YouTube. So look for that if you want to check it out.
I
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, since this is our first time trying this, let us know what you think in the comments section,
Hmm.
and let us know if you like this, if it works for you, or if there may be something that we should tweak, add some more stories, or whatever the case may be. And while you're there, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and all those things. So, yeah, please do.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as well. Like this, we might kind of tweak this and try different things. And if we do, yeah, continue to let us know what you enjoy and what you don't. You're not going to hurt our feelings. So please let us know if you're like, no, just stick to trailer reactions or something. And we know.
Yeah.
With that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
Bye, everybody.